Shows up. Dun, dun, dun. And for those of you watching it on the replay, we now start the part of the program where I wait for everybody to come in and be here to watch me talk. Which I should probably start making the most educational and enthralling part of the live stream. I think I will start writing short stories to read whenever, as soon as I click the go live button. I think I'll start reading the story. I'll try to make them about 1.5 minutes long each one. And then I'll just be through. Oh, hey, Roddy, Vision Quest, how goes it? Yes, I think about 1.5 minutes long would be perfect. Hey, Aid, on the story. I don't even know if I'll make them true. I may just like make up lies to write and then tell the stories. But they'll be entertaining lies, because that's the best stories, are the entertaining falsehoods. Hey, I just oopsed, and I let your son get away with my holster. I'll never get that back. Hey, we got Susan Williams, Aiden, Vision Quest, Riley McNutt, T-Bor. How goes it? I do have a mail call. That's thank you, Aid. We'll go ahead and give his part of it away right now since he's in here. I would like to think that I would be equally as thoughtful and considerate in this as my friend from across the pond, but then that would be a falsehood. So we got 8 folks up in here. Hey, Vanessa, C103. Who else we got? That's probably close enough. If anybody wants to watch the replay, they're more than welcome, because we'll probably go through this 6 times. The other end of the, hey, Trey, the other end of this is, he's in here too. This is actually a viewer appreciation giveaway thing that both myself and Aid were hoping to win. Aid O'Near. I just like saying Aid O'Near because it sounds cool. Aid O'Near won, and the giveaway was from Vision Quest Outdoors. Hey, Abe. And long story short, it didn't go to him, it came to me. It's a very small box. So there's a note. It's a very heartfelt note. It's very touching. Wes, Aid asked me to mail this to you. Enjoy. Jay, Vision Quest Outdoors. And I didn't make that up. That's really what he said. And I'll give y'all a minute to find the tissue and dry your eyes. That was very. I'm tired. I just got back from the mountains. My hair's still wet. Got a shower. My wife said bathe or leave. She didn't care which. So the box is now empty. They sent me this really cool, like, foam paper stuff. You can roll it up. It's really cool. You roll it out like this, and then use this and a rock, and you have a bushcraft pillow. Like one of the best ideas I've ever seen in my life. I would have taken this. Tuesday night. I would have loved to have this too. It could have gone right here against a rock like that, and it would have been perfect. Yeah, I would have killed for this Tuesday night. Or that would have been Wednesday morning. I'll tell the rest of the story in a bit. But no, this is what I really got. Actually, this is supposed to be AIDS. Gotta be careful, that end of it is sharp. So, that's it. I would be making me a sheath out of some deer hide for this. Pokey pokey. Hey, here's your flint knife. He got the zip code wrong. So, Jay, thank you. Aid, love you, brother. Thank you a lot. This is super cool. I'll figure out something. I'll have to win something and get them to mail it to you. But if it's like really, really cool, I'll just get them to send you a card. How's that? Would that like sort of be the thing? That's super cool. This might just wind up in my regalia for Mountain Man count. Because we're actually supposed to teach flint napping while we're out there. I don't know how to do it. So I got a couple of months to learn. For the record, Jay, I found a trash dump yesterday from like the 40s, and there were jar bottom, syrup bottle bottoms and stuff that were 1/2 inch thick glass. There were just pounds of these things. So, yeah. I will be doing a lot of arrowhead hunting there because apparently the canyon where I found these dumps at have not been hunted for arrowheads in over 20 years. And they've had several good rains roll through. So I shall be doing that. But nothing. So this thing really, it doesn't weigh anything. I'm going to cut something. Just not me. I'm going to put this up before I bleed. Thank both of you. And who else came in while I wasn't looking? Rhyolite. Oh, cool. That sure beats a rock. What we got? Anyhow, we've done it. There we go. Yeah. Hey, all smiles. Dude, the guy, Bob Hansler, y'all probably know who Bob Hansler is. He was down there too, and we were talking, we showed him some of the stuff we found or whatever. And he was saying that in that canyon, he had found he didn't know if it was a knife or a spear point, but it was made out of a dark green rock. He said it wasn't flint. He didn't know what it was, but it was dark green. He'd never seen a rock that color. And that's the only blade in in the Davies Mountains that he'd found that looked like that. And it was found in that canyon that hasn't been hunted in forever. It was a long walk back up in there, by the way. That trail hasn't had any trail maintenance in, what did they say? Four years. Oh, I don't know if y'all be able to pick it up on camera. Those brown dots and what looks like extra dark patches of hair and stuff, those are holes and cuts. There's a lot of catclaw out there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I'm cut to pieces. That's what the long sleeve shirt's for. So I was just going to cover up the blood, but then I decided to share with you. Yeah. Arrowhead hunting in the Davies Mountains is not for sissies. I'll see if I can get it. He's going to have to get home and dig it out. He's been hunting arrowheads down there for a while. Well, since he was 16, and that's been a bit. So, anyhow, I forgot to get my rock. We found a stone. Was in the riverbed, and there's nothing up country of that from modern structures or anything. But yeah, I'll show it later. I don't know what to call it. It's not. They don't think that rock's from there either, so it's probably some kind of artifact, which I now have to try and research what kind of artifact it was. So, but it would have to be really important for somebody to carry that rock all over the place. It would have to be really, really, really important. So, hey, Ted, and if I miss anybody else, what else were we going to talk about? Oh yeah, we'll jump over to BTSR. Got in a horrific windstorm. It's the worst windstorm I've ever been caught out in. I've been caught out in some horrible dust storms the wind was blowing and conditions were right, and it just picked up a massive amount of dirt. And, you couldn't see, you couldn't breathe. I've been in a few of those. But this one, the wind would get going down that canyon, and it was literally picking us like we'd be laying in our hammock, and the wind would come through, and it would blow, and it would roll us up in our hammocks. It would pin you to one side of the hammock, and it would just roll you up. We don't know how fast it was, but it was fast enough. We were hearing stuff break and fall on the sides of the canyon walls and stuff. And it was a 2-hour walk from there back to base camp. So in the daylight. See how we were kind of stuck there. It was fun. It was a blast. Like, it really was. It was, other than being cold all night long, because my underquilt on the hammock didn't work, because when the wind would gust up, it would pin it on one side, but the vacuum of the wind going across would pull it away from my hammock on the other side, and it would suck all the stored heat out. And so instant, you'd be back in a cold bed. And the wind didn't come from the same direction every time. It would blow. It hit me at 90 degrees, and then it would hit me. It would literally come in at a 45. It'd either be hitting this way or this way. And Stayed in the hammock until 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe. Didn't check, but 3 o'clock in the morning, then I got up and I secured myself in a latrine, which was some 200 yards away. And I suggested that the other two come with me, but apparently they could not hear me over the wind. And they were warm. They were staying warm because their keep warm devices were actually inside the hammock. So, yeah, they didn't get cold, but the wind kept them away. I did go back over there and get them about an hour and a half later, and because I figured they would show up, and they never did. So I went back and got them, and they came over there, and we all hung out in the latrine for another hour and a half, 2 hours before the sun come up. And it was fun. That was fun. That was day one. And we could see the dust in the air and stuff, and the wind would gust every once in a while. And none of us knew whether or not the wind was going to do that stuff again the night before or the next night. And there were supposed to be some people coming up the canyon, and they were supposed to be there about 10:30. And when they did not arrive by 12, we radioed in that we were coming in. And we're coming in. Basically, the wind was so bad at base camp that everybody had decided that it wasn't worth going out either. So we would have waited all day for them for nothing. We made it back in to camp because we took a very scenic hike back then, and we stopped and looked at all kinds of stuff. We put on twice as many steps to get back out of the canyon as it took. And anyway, yeah, we didn't see anybody. And then we finally got some sleep. And then when we got up the next day, we're like, well, what do you want to do? So we went and found another canyon and walked up it, which was actually super cool. It was better though because we didn't have we weren't carrying all of our food and sleeping gear and extra clothes and all that like we did going out the first night or first day. We just had the clothes we were wearing and water and camera gear. That's all we had. All right, man. I say if you get the key to your house, that's cool. That's cool. No, Abe, Vision Quest made that knife. Vision Quest snapped the knife. There's a video. You did that video on that one, right? There's a video of you making that one. You want to see the knife again? I still got it. For sure. Woohoo. Isn't it pretty? Poking. If I get lucky, maybe I'll shoot a pig or an aoudad or something. I can skin it. That would be cool. Like kill an aoudad, skin it with this, and then tan the hide, and then make the sheath for this out of aoudad. Because everybody knows that the Native Americans hunted audads because they've always been here, and they're native, or all that. No, not really. Well, they would hunt them if let's put it this way: the next generation of American natives, they'll hunt them. Because the aoudad was like they were engineered to live in the Texas, the South Texas, the desert or whatever. Those things are all the way from they're way past Ozone, all the way over into New Mexico. There's all in they're They have found a niche that they're good. I have video of them. It'll be, y'all get to see it, of them going up the side of a cliff. I mean, rock climbers would be patting themselves on the back if they could do what those aoudad were doing. Granted, the one did fall down, but that was because the big one knocked it down. That's another story. See what else? We know that you can boil green water and drink it, but oddly enough, you boil a green water and you pour it through your bandana. It will ruin your bandana, by the way. It gets all stained, so don't expect that to ever be pretty again. And then you can filter it, and then you have very drinkable water. But it tastes like dirt. Just so you know, it's crystal clear. It's fine. You drink it for 2 days, and you get no stomach trouble at all. And it's actually because you ran out of water getting there, and you're having to boil green water and filter it to drink it. It's actually even good hot. In case y'all are wondering. Whoop whoop. I would offer to come help, Bent, but I hate moving. Who wants to come help me like this weekend? I have to go like haul teepee poles 3.5 miles up to a canyon. There's food. It would be better with a tea bag in it, yes. And we had coffee. It does make you can tell if the coffee was fine. Or we really wanted coffee, one of the two. There's nothing better than sitting around drinking cowboy coffee straight out of your food bowl. I mean, that's all we had. We had minimal weight. And we're brewing coffee, and then me, my son, and my grandson are sitting around a campfire drinking black coffee together and telling stories. It was excellent trip. I strongly suggest that anybody that has a chance to take their kids and their grandkids somewhere and just get away from electronics, that you do it. It was, I mean, I probably could have got more video. There's some stuff that I really wish we had of, but turning it into a YouTube moment would have ruined the moment. So y'all just have to suffer. If y'all want to see that side of me and my family, volunteer. Come hang out with us. We'll be down there a lot. So come help, and you can be actually part of it. That was fun. But who knew that making soup could be that hilarious? Just had to be that. You could walk that in a couple of months. That's true. I mean, I know everybody. It's kind of weird. I'm still not giving up on Rob. It's just a weekend, and it's gonna suck because we're gonna hike out, do work, hike back in. So that's 7 miles walk through the canyon each day. I think we're coming back in. I hope we're coming back in because there's no way we're getting all them teepee poles out there in one trip. And we have to carry them out there because there's zero vehicle access to this canyon. None. Just me. this much vehicle. There's no shortcut around. There's no secret way in. You walk. You walk or you ride horses. That's it. I do it a lot, honestly. And it's weird for a guy to abandon even and some of the time I go do stuff that y'all don't rarely ever hear about because I don't even take cameras. I have to do something to keep me sane. That's why that the steak video, well, I felt that was really probably one of the more important videos I've ever done, where everybody was a steak with friends or whatever to, men's mental health. It's super important. Everybody tries to pretend like things don't get on top of them, or having emotional issues or this, that, or whatever, or for sissies and stuff like that. That's a load of crap. We all have different coping mechanisms, and some of our coping mechanisms work, some of them don't. Some of them will actually help. Some of them are self-destructive, and then that's why it's important to have friends. Y'all are actually therapy for me. So, but again, on that is, the good Lord and nature and all this camping, hiking, bushcrafting, homesteading, all this stuff that I do or whatever, it keeps me sane. So I'd love to get Woodbeard back down. We're trying to get him to the ranch. If he wants a decent hunting video, he's gonna need to do it. We'll give him a big bore rifle. He can shoot the thing half a mile away. We'll go get it. We saw 15 Aoudad just driving. We didn't even go up into the mountains where they hang out. There's elk up there on top too. Some people's elk got loose or whatever, and they didn't die. So there you go. You broke the dispenser. Yep. But I've got to get everything ready because we're going to be spending 5 weeks. Well, 1 week of it is training and all that stuff. And then 4 weeks, we'll be back in the canyon 4 weeks. Right in the middle of the summer. But it's down in the canyon. That's the beauty of it. You're up on top, you've got the added elevation, so it's not as warm. But down in the canyon, you've got shade most of the day, so it's not miserably hot. And we have a swimming hole. Like a quarter of a mile from camp, there's a swimming hole. It's, 2 or 3. Well, it's probably 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. It's deep enough to dive into. It's cold water even in summertime because it's spring fed. And there's actually places where the water runs across the boulders and stuff up top that it's got bowls cut in it, and it forms pools, and the water spends enough time going through those that it gets warm. So you actually have there's hot tubs available if you care to go to get in the hot tub. The water might be a little green, but it's warm. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. It's been 2 or 3 years. We didn't catch any fish this time, but this is the dry season. The rain should start coming in anytime. We're hoping the rains don't hit. Excuse me. When we're there this coming weekend, but it rains during the spring, and then it spends all summer and most of the winter bleeding down through the rocks and coming out in the forms of springs and stuff like that. A couple of the springs are still flowing, actually. The one above the notch is still flowing. It's just not flowing like gangbusters like it usually does. One of the springs, I mean, it's a 2-inch stream of water coming out of the ground. It was not flowing out of the ground where it usually does. It was seeping. It was still running. It was still seeping, but we need rain. So the fish were there. It's just most of the bigger ones have. When the pools get smaller, it makes it easier for the predators to go fishing too. So there's still fish in there. They're just all small, and as soon as it rains and stuff, they all become the big ones. It's just the way it happens. So. Well, if they'll open the border, gotta wait for everybody to say it's okay for us to go back to living without fear, which I don't really think they want to do. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You think what else happened? Yep, I met a rat. He was pretty cool. They've been setting traps trying to get this rat for forever, and he comes walking up while I'm dozing. That's why I would have liked to have had this. I had my head leaning against a rock in the latrine dozing. It would have been nice to have this little soft, cushy thing. But the rat come in there. He was loaded up with, he'd been out. The wind's knocking all these acorns and stuff off the trees and stuff. He's out there. He's harvesting his little butt. He's working his little butt off. And by the time I realized what was going on and stuff, he'd already left the building. I wouldn't have felt right ending him anyway. Come to find out, they're some kind of kangaroo rat. They're not supposed to be down there, but they are. And the guys say they've always been there. So you can't always trust. Dun, dun, dun. Some of I got to read this, guys, hold on, because everybody keeps saying they're up. Yeah, they're saying they're up in the above us, not down there. But I'm serious. I mean, there was kangaroo rat, and they say they're over there, all over the place. Maybe it's not at Texas. Maybe I need to Google something else. Maybe it's let's try. Maybe it's a different breed. That's what I was thinking. Try New Mexico. is a Mexican kangaroo rat, which oddly enough, look just like the Texas kangaroo rat. But yeah, this is him. Anyway, apparently it was what is it? Ords, O-R-D, apostrophe S, kangaroo rat. Also known as banner tail. Blah, blah. Anyway, there's a bunch of different kinds of them. So, yeah. What else happened? That's about it. Found a couple, back in the day, people would burn their trash or whatever. They would just haul their trash into a gully or something and throw it out. And because, they didn't care. Back in the day, they didn't have landfills. So found a couple of those places and was digging through them. I want to go back when I've got time because, you need a day. You need a day to dig through stuff like that to actually find anything good. I'll say that. My grandson found a cool artifact and took it home, and actually two. And I found evidence, same kind of stuff, the little perfume bottles from back when the perfume salesman the traveling door-to-door salesman would bring samples or whatever. You find those all over the place on these old home sites because that might be the only perfume that lady got was the sample. And somebody offered a free sample of perfume or whatever, they took it. Or, the guy couldn't do much, but he could buy her a nickel bottle. Okay, be good. What did I miss? It can be if you find the right jars or bottles or whatever. I found one bottle that I promptly discarded. Didn't want to have anything to do with it. It had the RX paper was still on it, and it was full of white powder, and you could see where it had been full, but the lid was rusted, so it had evaporated, and it said laudanum. So there was enough opium in the bottom of that jar to send me away for a while. So I did not keep that jar. In retrospect, I probably could have cleared it through something and got it to a museum or yada, yada, yada. I wasn't risking it. So. There were several busted Coke bottles. And I found, the old shaving cream cups, you know, the shaving cups, you put the soap in and you do the bristle or whatever. I found a couple of them that have both been broke. So the one pile looked almost like they had cleaned up a house fire, honestly. So, which is possible. You know, you never can tell. There's a tank back up that canyon, and there was a road to it. So at one time, somebody was trying to homestead back up in that canyon. So there may have been home back up in there. You never know. Well, that's cool, man. There's, well, I quit looking in the attics of the old abandoned houses because all I was finding was Gertie magazines. I swear, every old house out there has Gertie magazines in the attic of it. I actually checked, I cleared my attic when I bought this house. Well, that sucks, man. Um, we were finding stones in the bottom of the creek bed that were, they have volcanic ash up there that's turned to stone, but it's a really soft, chalky. It's not, it's a light rock, but and it doesn't dissolve in water, but it's soft. So when you find them in the riverbed, they tumble out and they're like almost perfectly round. And my son's got several of them from the size of a golf ball down to the size of a little marble. And he took them home for his daughter. So it was a blast. I mean, it's worth it. My grandson is now hooked. He put in his application, or is putting in his application to work the summer out there. It will be working for free. So kudos to him. He'll do it just for the experience and the time and all the stuff he'll get to do. You know, it'd be a hard 4 weeks on him, or 5 actually. I don't know that he's ever been away from his mom and dad that long. Well, when his dad was in boot camp in AIT, but that was different. It really would surprise you. There are parts of this place that are like a desert because I mean it's the mountains are in the desert. So you've got high desert, and then you have boom. You'll go around a canyon. You'll come up on a different side of the mountain, and boom, you're in a pine forest. Same with that canyon. My camp, or our camp, is in what they call Maybe Park, and it's a pine forest. It's, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 acres, 60 acres of pine trees. Just boom, right there. It's pretty cool. Um, bees are super active. They're not normal honeybees. They're not like the European honeybees or other bees. One of them stung me, and it didn't affect me too terribly bad. Tough. Ow. We just call it ash. I mean, it's hard to describe that canyon we were in. It's called $1 Million Canyon. The rocks, the canyon walls are green, and I thought it was. I actually thought it was the like something growing on the side of the deals or whatever. But then we were finding the big boulders and stuff down in the creek and stuff. It's green. The rock is green. Like it's literally army green. It's the color. It's olive green. It looks like army, about the color of army fatigues, faded army fatigues. I think it will be. Me and his dad lost weight, and he gained a couple of pounds. But I didn't know anybody could eat that many fruit snacks. Fruit snacks and Slim Jims. That he was sticking them in his face every time you looked at him. But that's why we carried them, because you burn a lot of calories. And I'm not going to say that me and Leland weren't stuffing fruit snacks and Slim Jims in our mouth, because I'd be lying. But we were, if we hadn't carried the food with us, we lost a whole lot more than, because we tried to provide our own food while we were out there. I mean, there was, we were too early for the berries. We were too early for any of the yucca flowers. There was nothing to eat. There was no wild edibles out there available. So we thought, and now if we had carried our rifle, we could have got a hog. We saw 2 hogs, but we didn't have a rifle. We did see a few deer, in a real, like, we're living off the land thing. We could have got some groceries, but yeah, it was, not good. So I'm really glad for single package Slim Jims, and I really don't like them that much. I never thought my body would crave a sausage wrapper full of pepper and grease, but yeah, you want them really bad. I'll have to look it up. I'm not a rock person. We're actually trying to find a rock book that would help us out. Apparently Tyler's fascinated with rocks now, so that's cool. Do geologists make money? Yeah, it's a blast. I will edit. I will get the videos out as quick as I can. I'll try to have at least 1, maybe 2, if I'm lucky, uploaded. But I've got to roll out of here Thursday or Thursday day if I want to make all 3 days of the work weekend. I'll have to see if Tyler's planning on going with. I'll have to wait until he's available, and I'll have to come back. We might not be able to make all 3 days. We might only be able to be there a couple of them. And then again, he might not get to go. I'll have to see. No, we showed him the green rock that we brought back from the canyon. It was not the same thing. He said it was a darker green, This stuff, you might have been able to make a point out of it. It was pretty hard rock, but I don't know that would flake right. So this had a lot of little quartz crystals trapped in it, or little crystals, I guess they were quartz. Let me look. Let me lag y'all a bit. I think that was fast. That's it. That's cool looking. No, that's not what it was. This is super exciting, huh? Let me go to images. Bum, 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 bum. Well, there's like a lot of them. There's a lot of volcanic rock that turns green. What's this one? Doesn't say what they are, but that's the rock right there. Apparently, even some of the pumice stone will come out green. That's wicked cool. Different shades of green, even. Who knew there was this many green rocks? Well, that's a boulder right there. Green mafic. Oops, that's a picture. Doesn't tell me anything. You're not helpful. Yeah, I don't know. There's a green rock. I'll look, see if I can find it. It's really cool green rock, actually. I was jealous. I didn't want to carry it as far as he did. He carried it a long, long, long ways. We did find it in another great, larger piece, but we weren't moving that large piece. Did make an attempt at it, but it was super heavy. So, basalt. I'm going to go with a form of basalt that was green. greener than that. And I'm betting what Bob was with some kind of green volcanic glass, because apparently there's green obsidian too. Yeah. Some of the volcanic glass does not have to be black. It can be green. That's cool. Here it is. And it doesn't say what it is. Olive green rock with crystals all in it, but that's definitely the rock. Anyway, pillow lava. Yeah, that's about. What were we talking about? The spear point's not made of the rock that we found, but it's probably a green obsidian, which I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently it is because there was pictures of it. I don't know, Ben. I'll see if, or actually I'll let Ty Joe find out what his rock is, and he can tell all of us. Hey, Clifford. Some of the green rock was actually pretty easy to chip away, but then because it's in layers, some of the layers were super hard, and they'd be separated by layers of kind of a reddish brown or even yellowish brown. The reddish brown stuff, which is basically orange, the trail's called Orange Trail. We were wondering if maybe because of the orange rock and the side of the canyons and stuff, if that's why they called it orange. The green trail runs up Lila Gula Canyon, and that's because it's always got water in it, so everything stays green. So it's the green trail. It's weird, isn't it? It's like we see a cool rock when we're a kid, and then we see a cool rock when we're senior citizens, and we're just like, oh, cool rock. They're just rocks are like eternal. It's almost like they're the very foundation of everything. Yeah. I found a few different funguses out there. There were some of the real hard fungus on the side. They don't really look like horseshoes, so I don't want to burn a fungus until I know what it is. So I'll have to research that one. And ordinarily when I'm out doing that stuff, there's some internet. So, you can take pictures or whatever, and then you can search it when you get back to the internet. or while you're right there at it. But you know, if you don't have that, then you can't do that. Think about that when, you know, the guys that started naming all this stuff and doing the research back in the day, they would literally have to take such extensive notes of what they were researching. You know, they would literally have to paint pictures of what they had found, where they found it, what it was growing on, the atmospheric conditions, all this stuff. You know, if they're looking at a fungus or a tree or whatever. And then they would have to go back and compare it with references that other guys had made, and yada, 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 see if it was the same thing or something different. You know, and nowadays we just pretty much type in the, you know, half-ass description of something like green volcanic rock, and we come up with hundreds of options to pick through to find the right one. And it still doesn't have the name of the rock on it. But, you know, it's just a whole lot easier to do things now than it used to be. If you go to the right place, if you go down to Junction, you're going to need a 1-ton, dude. They're just, there's literally flint nodule just laying in the riverbed, dude, the size of bowling balls. Just sorry about that. Chert. I think most of it's just chert. It's horrible to work with. You would hate it. So that one piece. I had one piece. It was like snowy white. You chip it out and it's like literally white on the inside. And that same riverbed, I picked up a piece. You chip it and it's almost black on the inside. You can see it's so glassy that you can see the light coming through it. But it's, yeah, we got a few rocks down here. All right, Mark. Be back in. You know, while Mark's going to smoke a cigarette, I'm gonna run and get a warm up on my coffee. I'll be right back, guys. If anybody wonders if my legs are sore, yes. Just in case y'all were wondering if there's any pain involved in walking that much. Yes. Oh. Now I've got to get up in the morning and throw 20 pounds of weight on my back for no particular reason at all and walk for 2 miles. I figure if I do it with the 20 pounds on my back and do 2 miles, it'll be pretty easy to do 4 miles with no weight. That's my hope. But I figure if I can start out at the 2 miles, and then I'm gonna try to have myself up to a brisk 4 mile walk. It won't be exactly the same, but if I can do down the hill, back up the hill, and down the other hill, and back up the hill, that'll come up to 3.5, 4 miles. And if I can do that at least every other day between now and May, should be okay. It is Friday night, isn't it? Oh, I just happen to have, thanks to, is Chipper in here? Chipper had to work, and I think he's sleeping. Hey, Chipper, when you're listening to this on the replay, again, thank you for this disgusting stuff. Something in the bottom of my cup. That's better. Perfectly clean. This will allow me to sleep soundly. Here's to good friends, family, and a God that loves us all. It's like candy. That is the smoothest whiskey I've ever drank in my life. Just bring all your stuff and don't take the flint back. Just sit there at the riverbed like some kind of Neanderthal and just nap flint. You could do that. I've got to learn. I gotta have to watch some more videos. I gotta get this flint nipping stuff figured out. And then I may have to make a trip down to Junction and load up because there's no flint over there. There's nothing to nap. Anything that we find that's been napped in those mountains was brought in from somewhere else. There's some basalt over there, which you can make stuff out of, but it's not great. Hey, NF and W. Oh, you got thyroid issues? All right, man, that sucks. Got that all over the family. I dodged it mostly. I would love, I don't want it to, but if the notch ever went dry, I would be at the bottom of that thing with a shovel in a heartbeat. There's any gold and diamonds in that volcano. If there's any gold in that creek, it's going to be at the bottom of the notch. The end. So, there you go. How's everybody else? Anybody else get windstorm? Was that Tuesday night? Or, yeah, Tuesday. Anybody else get wind on Tuesday night? Like horrid wind? Or is that just us? Excuse me. Okay, the green stuff that he described to me is this right here. That's dark olive green. Why don't you have visit the site? Not 404 not found, and you give it to me. Ah, it's witchcraft stuff. This is what the bigger one looked like. Green volcanic glass. But it wasn't a glass. Green obsidian. And it's rare. I'm gonna have to sneak into Bob's shed and find me an arrowhead. Or get my happy butt. Because you know, if they found enough to make one arrowhead, they had enough to make two. Just finding another arrowhead in the same canyon would be tricky. Hey, Org. Ooh, that sucks. I think 50-mile-per-hour gusts would have been nice the other night. It was pretty scary. It really was. I think we may have lost one of the better people we had at the BTSR. I think she's going to be in school this summer, like furthering her education. Oh, that's harsh. Cancer's a bitch. I don't know how else to put it. I don't like it at all. Like the son that went with me, him and his son that went with me. My son had I can't pronounce the name of the cancer, but it was a brain tumor that they found just in time to keep him alive. But they had to remove way too much tissue to make sure it wouldn't continue to grow. So he's still sharper than your average bear, though. So All right, Ben. Have a good night. Our Well, my wife's niece had to have her thyroid. Did they take the whole thing or just most of it? Took it all. And yeah, you got to. It's not that bad, baby. My wife's got a quarter. She hates it. She visions one of those yolks that the mule wears or whatever, and that's barely noticeable. And I pay close attention to it because if it starts to grow or whatever, she's going back to the doctor. The canyon was the vision, Jay, right? The the trees on the side of the canyon literally grow out of the cracks in the rocks. So when the wind would blow through and it would move the trees enough, it would literally knock rocks loose and rocks would tumble down the side of the cliffs. Did anybody die? Nobody died. Shut up. You were not there, Miss. Did anybody die? Then it's okay. We could have. The trees that I tied my hammock to, I was looking at the stars and I was noticing the stars were going back and forth in the trees. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why are the trees going back and forth? Are the stars moving? Why am I not watching the trees move? Why are the trees not moving and the stars staying still? Then it occurred to me, I'm tied to the trees and me and the trees are swaying together. And the stars are staying still. I'm like, I don't want to die right here. Because we didn't know there was going to be wind. And not 20 steps from me is a 40-foot tall dead pine tree that could have fallen on me and squished me dead. But it didn't. Thank you, God. All the limbs have been broke off of it in past windstorms. So it wasn't a whole lot of it to catch. There were several trees that were standing, old dead trees that were standing before the wind hit, that will now be cut into logs for setting around fires. So, yeah, the wind was bad. Yeah, hammock sleeping, fun time. I am full-time retired, Org Dad. I used to be well, I was a contractor. I did remodeling, construction. Prior to that, I was lead maintenance at a brick manufacturing facility. Prior to that, I was the guy who I worked at a cotton gin. And before that, I was a welder. I trade for a long time. Certified welder forever. Oh no, neither one. I was in the trees sleeping, trying to sleep. I was tied. My hammock was tied between the trees, and I picked two big trees because I wanted it to be sturdy and nice and steady. And I picked pine trees, which apparently move more. And my grandson and son tied off to ponderosa and and oak trees. And yeah, it's weird. You got pine trees and oak trees in the same grove, and walnut trees. Pine trees, oak trees, and walnut trees. There's black walnuts all over the place down there, man. Um, yeah. Barrel cactuses became the new squirrel. Instead of saying squirrel, we would say barrel cactus. Because we were trying to see if we could spot everyone and every different kind. There's so many different kinds of little barrel cactus down there. Yeah, I really don't like the wind. We were glad there was no rain with it because we did check the forecast and it was supposed to be bone dry all week. So we elected not to haul the extra 2 pounds for tarps out there. I have no faith in those lightweight nylon tarps. Um, Somewhere where you're going to be sheltered inside, trees and stuff like that wouldn't be too bad. If I'd have taken that one Tiger's tarp and put it, the wind would have shredded it. I wouldn't own it anymore. I honestly don't believe it would have stood up to that wind. It would have been a good test. If it had of, I would have gave it like a super review. I would have said, yeah, spend your money on this tarp. I mean, it can take this much wind. The last one I did that with, it didn't take half that wind. It can take 50-mile-per-hour gust. So you should have took the truck, man, put it in the back. I didn't say it out loud. I just thought that because that would be wrong. That's when you need a U-Haul. I mean, I'm gonna have to get right there in that recliner. I've got it strapped down. You'll be fine. I'd like to do some camping up in Northern California. The only problem is it's too close to Portland. It's a bad joke. I can't play with Aid because he's a PlayStation guy, and I'm a Xbox person. So yeah, there's that. Oh, my button broke. But at least during the summer, I don't have to carry my sleeping gear. Will be out there. My extra clothes will be out there. All I have to do is carry me and my water, and that's it. Be good to go. Um, um, Rob has a lightweight canvas tent that he puts up that's got like multiple places to tie off and everything. I mean, it's like you can tie off on that tarp 100 different places. and his tarp took the weather. I mean, it weighs twice as much as the one that I had, but it took the weather. So if you're going to tote something out there, I mean, yeah, weight needs to be a consideration, but if the weight, however much weight you save, if it doesn't save you anything, if it just costs you a night's sleep or whatever, it costs you to go hypothermic or whatever because it didn't do its job, you didn't save yourself anything. So, just if all you're worried about rain and maybe, 20-mile-per-hour breeze, those lightweight, super light tarps or whatever. And I mean, if you're going to carry bungees, you might as well carry the heavier tarp and just use a rope. If you're, if you're not going that far or whatever, I guess it's all right. But over here, Lindale, 3.5 miles, we gained 800 feet of elevation, but there's several times on the hike you have to gain 100-foot elevation and then give it back up. You go up 150 feet and then you go back down 100 feet. And then you go up 75 feet and you go back down 75 feet. And I'm not talking over a slope. You've got to go up the side of the mountain and back down because it's a tight canyon or whatever. And you can't walk the creek bed. You can't walk the second bank. You've got to walk the side of the mountain. It's a really, really good hike. It's not for your day hiker that's used to going on the little pathways that have, landscaping lumber on either side. And you got the nice crushed packed gravel, the cracked rock in there that packs together real nice and just gives you that nice little crunch when you're walking. That's not that hike. There's places on that hike that the horses are like, you people are assholes. Because if it wasn't for the people on their back, they would go under the bushes or walk through the water or whatever. Oh yeah, I've got some of those, and and you can do most winds or whatever. I don't think anything. As a matter of fact, I had a Army surplus tent that was there on camp that we set up, and well, it didn't stay in place, but it didn't tear. And that is the bungee cords is a good idea, but that's actually why I like using the tarred bank line to tie off because it actually has give. It stretches. It's you can take 6 foot of it and tie it on both ends. Tie one end around the tree and then pull on it, and the 3 foot that's left, it'll stretch 3 or 4 inches before it breaks. I've often wondered why they don't put heavy bungees on, put elastic bungees on the tarps or whatever. But, again, there's the weight. I didn't even carry my hammock straps with me because the hammock straps are heavy. They're really, really cool. I'm thinking about, Rob made me a couple, which I need to dig those out because they weigh half as much as those ones that I bought. And they're just as strong. They actually have the same tensile. So, if I'd have known it was going to be windy, that I would have packed differently. We would have carried, instead of hammocks, we would have carried ground mats, and we would have found a place, brought our mats out, put the tarp on the ground where, the edge of the tarp was to the wind, and we would have done the whole stake it down, put the boulders right on the edge, not big heavy rocks right on the edge, gone over the other side, did the same thing, and then we would have just laid on the ground under the tarp, and the wind would have blown right over the top of us. So we'd have had to put up with the sound of the tarp because you're not going to make them stop popping, not in wind like that. But I think we would have been able to stay warm that way, and we wouldn't have been swaying in the wind. Yes, that's what I have, Tibor. I would show it to you, but that stuff's maybe 3/16 around. It's twice the size of the 550 cord, and it's good stuff, and it's all you need. It's all you need to hang your hammock. If I can get the hammock straps out there, I like to use those mostly because it's easier on the tree. It spreads the weight out across, and you're not putting a cut mark in the bark where you've tied off to the tree. Where I'm from, we don't have trees growing like weeds. Two trees together that will hold up a hammock. It's a rare and beautiful sight. So you don't kill them. I wish I need to get some more because the ones I have, they're only about, I want to say they're maybe 8 foot long, and I'd really like them to be 10 because there's been times when it's like they were barely long enough. And I actually like to hang my hammock higher than I need to because I just assume, Mr. 150-pound hog walked under me without ever touching me. It's a little harder getting out of the hammock, but I can live with that. Yes. Who was it? Somebody was it Walter? Who was it sent me all that? And I used a bunch of it. I've got some of that mule tape. I'll keep that in mind, T-Boy. And I may tie the thing off wrong, but I do it to where when you get in it, it cinches up on the tree so it can't slide down. But you'd have to be in the hammock a lot for several days for it to actually get into the tree. But like out there, the pine trees and the cedars and stuff, it's just not a good idea to break through that top couple of layers of bark. It makes the trees bleed. You know, down on Bob's place, it's, you know, there's hackberries and no, I forgot the name of those other trees. Anyway, you got pecan trees and everything, and they you ain't gonna hurt them things. But pine trees are a little different, or the pines here are a little different. I don't know about where y'all are at. Like I say, the mule tape makes a pretty good strap, and they're super easy to make. I may actually make some tomorrow. I know right where that mule tape is, and mule tape don't weigh nothing. It's probably weight for pounds for weight for the work it'll do. It is probably the lightest cordage out there. It's a little tricky sometimes to get the knots to hold, but it's good stuff. You just have to tie better knots. Because it's really slick. The other end of it, though, is if you got any clay around, clay or sandy loam or whatever, if you'll get where you're going to put the knots or what, like on the ends, if you'll get them wet and then get them dirty, then it'll hold a knot better because it puts a little friction in there and it's not going to weaken it enough to matter. Paracord Galaxy. I'll look that up. I guess I need to be more of a gear guy since I'm doing this stuff. That way I can tell people, okay, if you really want to spend the money on something, you can, this, that, and everything else. They sell a really good cord at the hardware stores. I think it's 1,500-pound test. It looks kind of like paracord, but it's not. It doesn't have the individual strands in there. It's got a nylon center and a nylon outer, but that stuff's amazing. And it's not super heavy, but it's the last of it I bought was 75 cents a foot. So you know, you buy 30 foot of it, you spent a little bit of money. You know, you start throwing down that kind of cash for cordage and don't really feel like taking a pocket knife through it, or I don't. Back when I worked for my money, anyway. Now I just don't have any money coming in. I'm a kept fan. I do little things here and there. I still put in an air conditioner every once in a while. I'll still paint a house every once in a while. Still build a porch every once in a while. Just whatever, just little things here and there. Yeah, mule tape's inexpensive. Like I say, the only thing is you have to tie your knots a little different because some of the knots you can get away with and other stuff will not hold on mule tape. It will come undone. It just will, and it'll hold for a few hours, but then it comes undone. That's been my experience. I've been using mule tape for everything. You go back and watch some of my older videos. My one of my guns, the sling, is mule tape, and it's been on there a while, but it's not tied. It's sewn. It's sewn on. I put it in. I sewed it up, and It's been working great. I am completely washed in the mental whatever. I have not had enough sleep over the past several days. I am going to sign off of here. I appreciate y'all coming in and listening to me ramble and all that. Vision Quest, if you are still in here, super cool knife, man. Y'all go check out Vision Quest Outdoors. Give him a sub. Support his channel. Watch him. He made this knife on a video, and Aid won the giveaway, and then Aid paid it forward to me. So this is all natural materials. That's not the fake sinew. That's the real sinew. That's a real rock. That's a real stick, and it's real sharp. That will get the job done. It would definitely get the job done. So I can literally see light through the cutting edge. That's wicked cool. That is thin right there. Ooh, this little part right here is sharp. Don't do that. Don't drag your finger across it. I'm just saying, don't. Oh. All right, Miguel, I didn't see you. Yeah, exactly. Just good stuff. Anyway, love all you people. Weren't for y'all, I wouldn't be here. So y'all be good. Stay alive. Do not die. Show each other some love, literally, and I mean love each other. It doesn't cost anything. Okay. God bless you.